Good morning. This is Gifty Etc. at giftyetc.blogspot.com. Today I wanted to talk to you about lists and what kind of list you can keep in your planner. So you'll see that basically my planner has three sections. It has a project section. Here's the project section. And for my projects, I do have, I'm going to hide a couple of them because I don't want to show you all of them, but I have an index. You'll see along the side A, B, C, D, F. If you've ever looked at my planner videos before, you've seen that I use the index for my project section. Next, I have my task and basically the main section of my planner. Here it is. And behind that, I have things like task lists. I also have my monthly pages. So here's November. I'm going to kind of hide a little bit of it again. And I have my weekly pages. So this is the main portion of my planner. And finally, behind my future pages, I have my notes section. And my notes section is set up with an index, just like my project section. And along the side it has, the alphabet so that I kind of know where to put my little tabs here. Now throughout this planner, I have a lot of types of lists. So I wanted to go over some of those for you. And all of these, by the way, are listed on my blog. So on today's entry, today is November 26, 2013, and you'll see on the entry. So the first thing that I have or a next action list. And I could have these in my project section. And I would have these in my project section if they were things that I'm going to do currently, ongoing projects. I might have them in my main section, or I might have them in my note section if they're not something that I'm currently using. Okay? So for example, some of the projects list that I have, and I'm just going to show you a few of them, but for today we can look down to the T area to Thanksgiving. And for Thanksgiving, I have something that I call advanced task. And these are tasks that I need to do ahead of time for Thanksgiving Day. I'm going to put them close so you can see. So I have the date that I need to do them by, and a lot of them are today or tomorrow. And then later on I'll show you a schedule, which is a different kind of list. But so one of my next action lists are Thanksgiving lists. Now, in the main category of my planner, I also have next action lists. And one example is my master task list, things that I want to do at some point, and my household hot list. These are little areas around my house that are driving me insane. And so I need to take care of them. Of course, in my daily task, I'm going to have things like things that I need to do on a particular date. I'm trying to find one while still hiding one little detail from you. So let me get my page marker. So I'm going to have a daily task list, things that I need to take care of, or even a weekly task list, things that I need to take care of each week. And those are what I call next action lists. The only next action list I have right now in my notes is things to do if I get a new job. And so they're going to be under J for job. And I have a list of things that I want to take care of if I should ever get a full-time job. So these are things that I've just sort of kept on a list that I'd like to do if that happens. Those are my next action list. Now there's another type of list. I call it my ideas list. So one example of ideas is I'm currently doing National November Writing Month, and I have ideas for what I'm going to put into my novel. Another idea or ideas for my blog, gifts for family and family. And back at the end in my notes section, I even have ideas for other books that I might want to write. So those are the kind of lists that we call ideas lists. They're just a place to throw down those ideas that you might have. Next is my notes list. Now, surprisingly, a lot of these are in the action portion of my planner, but the reason that they're in the project portion is because they are things that I am actively working on. So for example, I might have the list of people invited to a party or a list of items that other family members have bought for our kids for Christmas so that we don't duplicate those lists. In my notes, I have lots of these notes lists, and one great example is the car wreck list. Let me see if I can find that. The car wreck list. So I got in a car wreck, and I have all the information about the car wreck that I wrote just contemporaneously when I got into the car wreck. And I just keep this in my notes section until the whole thing is settled, and then it'll go in my main files in my house. Okay. Another kind of list that you might find interesting to have is a checklist. For example, I have a checklist for my household chores, and this is probably one of my favorite projects that I have. It's my household chores checklist. You'll see that at first I didn't work the checklist very well, but more recently I've done a great job of checking off, especially since company is coming for Thanksgiving, checking off things that I get done in the household. So I have this little household checklist. Another type of list are budget lists. And one example of a budget list that I have is right here in my main planner. And what I have at the end of each month is a list of the spending that we've done in November. And so that's my budget list. Another kind of list, of course, is a shopping list. Now, I'm not going to show you the shopping list for Christmas because then people watching my blog would know their Christmas gifts, but I have Christmas lists. I have lists of things that I'm going to get for my husband, for each child. On my weekly pages, I have usually right here a list of things that I need to buy at the grocery store. And the only reason nothing is right here is because for Thanksgiving I went shopping early. So I don't have that list this week. I also have things like menus. And menus for me is another type of list. I have both a Thanksgiving menu. Let me see if I can find that for you. A Thanksgiving menu and a menu of things that we eat on a regular basis. The things that we eat are in my notes pages because I just look it up if I need that information. It's reference information. But the Thanksgiving menu is active, so it goes in my project pages. Another thing that we have in another kind of list is a schedule. And you'll see right here in the Thanksgiving pages, I do have a schedule of things that I'm going to do on Thanksgiving Day. What time am I going to put in the turkey? What time am I going to serve dinner? Other schedules that I have are my future planning pages where I plan what's coming up in the next year. And also I keep in my notes because I don't use this all the time, but I use it some of the time. So I keep in my notes, and it's going to be under the name of the boys' school because it's something that I use only occasionally, a AM and PM list of what the boys' routine is. We learn their routine pretty quickly, so we don't need to have it written down all the time. But this little schedule helps me if we get off track, say the day we return to school after Thanksgiving break. So those are my types of lists that I use. Again, what's included are next action list, ideas list, notes list, checklist, budget list, sorry for putting my hand right there, budget list, shopping list, menus, and schedules. I hope this gives you some idea of some of the lists that you can keep in your planner. And please do visit giftyetc.blogspot.com to see my complete list of lists that I'm going to be using in my planner this upcoming year.